So I made a mistake. Rather, I made a series of mistakes. I'm trying to make the aileron control horns, which are the controls that change the angle of the ailerons on the wings. And so I started off with 2 sets of control horn brackets. And the first set had washers welded onto them. And that was cool, except the welding had made the steel shrink, and that caused some warping of the bracket. Unfortunately, I made the mistake of not checking the inside dimension, and as a result, they ended up being way too small. I had a second set, and so I got that second set out. These had no washers attached, and so I figured I would do it the right way, and I would braze the washers on instead of welding them. This should result in no warping, and they should be good to go. So I took the brazed on washers, a different set than this. Took the brazed on washers, or the bracket with the brazed on washers, and I welded the top piece on, the front piece here. And unfortunately, I wasn't thinking about it very hard. The brass will run towards the heat. And so when you heat up a part enough to weld it, the brass will migrate into the weld if you're not careful. And I was not careful. So that leads me to the point where I now have to make my own. I have to make my own brackets. The first thing to do is to make a flat pattern. And fortunately, something that I did back in 2016 when I didn't have a shop, but I did have time on my hands, is I sat down with a CAD program and I made flat patterns for all these pieces. As a result of that, I had a flat pattern. So I spruced it up a little bit and printed it out and put some dimensions on it. And because it printed 1-to-1, I actually just cut it out with a pair of scissors and taped that onto a piece of steel and then cut out the piece of steel. So that gave me my flat pattern. Voila, I made 2 of these. And so this video is discussing what the flat channel, or what the channel press tool is and how it works. So I'm going to show you the channel press tool that I made, and I'm going to show you my first attempt with it. And I'm pretty sure it's going to suck, but you never know. Hopefully it will just work perfectly. Everything's going to be great. Here's what we've got. These are the blocks that will stay stationary. They just sit on the table. And then this is the block that will go onto the bracket that's going to get turned into a channel. The idea is you set the whole thing up like this, and when you apply pressure, it presses down and leaves the bracket perfectly folded up. That's the idea. And so what I'm going to do, as you can see here, I've rounded off the corners so that they're 3/32 radius, and I just did that with a file and sandpaper. So it's probably not perfect, but it's probably good enough for what I'm doing. I'm going to apply a piece of my friend double stick tape. Where is it? Double stick tape to this piece here. I've got the points marked where the alignment should be. And then I'm just going to stick that on like that and stick it on there, grease the back, and we should be good to go. Take my piece of double stick tape. Align that. Align that. Now, having successfully done this, I apply my friend the grease. In this case, just some regular high pressure grease. Grease up the back. So then I take my stuck-on piece and glide it nicely into place. And it's ready to go. So I'll go ahead and give that a press and see what happens. Well, sort of. Let's try this. That was not good at all.